you trying to do for real? For real.
Cosmic, psychedelic funk is what I came to do. Yep. I'm soul by funky. Hey. Soul by funky. I'm soul by cosmic soul. Hey.
Hey, this is Alan T. Black. We want to welcome you to the Arthur's Authority Lounge, the official TV show for Arthur's. I'm one of the hosts, and this morning or this evening, depending on when you're watching the show, I also want to welcome our co-host as well.
Hello, everybody. My name is Nicole Lewis, and welcome to the show.
So again, we want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to spend some time with us. The focus of the show is we bring on authors. We want to hear from them. We want them to share their journey, what inspired them to be a writer, and where do they see themselves going from here. So today we're very honored to have Mr. Tony Gould here with us. We've been trying to get him for a while. We know he's been busy and everything, but we're honored, Tony, to have you here. So again, welcome to the Arthur's Authority Lounge, the official TV show for Arthur, sir.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's my pleasure and honor to be here.
So let's start at the start. Where did all this begin for you as far as your journey to become an author?
Well, it actually started many years ago. It's interesting because I asked that question quite a bit in reference to what would prompt me to write a book. And actually part of that was dealing with different areas of trauma in my life. I was abused as a child, sexually abused as a child, and basically hid it for 38 years. And through a series of events, it came out. And in that, through dealing with that, came the learning how to journal, learning how to recognize the emotions and feelings that was tied to my trauma. On top of that was not only the abuse as a child, but the abuse as an adult, as a man, and trying to figure out how do I even deal with that. Because men have, in the area of abuse, it may be physical, it may be emotional, we're not built in a sense because of society and how to deal with those emotions. And, when the situation dealing with my childhood trauma, I had now deal also with my adult trauma. And through my time of just relying on my faith and also from the standpoint of just navigating life, I decided to put pen to paper.
Okay.
And took my pain and put it on paper. And that allowed me to begin to work through some of the things that I had been dealing with for all these years that I never dealt with. And writing has always been on my heart. I wrote quite a bit and just write it to myself. I kind of just leave it. So then I said, you know what? There's other people dealing with this. And I know there's other men dealing with this. Because when I reached out for help, I was always told, we don't have a program for men.
Really?
But you can sit in on the programs we have for women, but that's not the same because I'm dealing in an emotional space that is so far away from reference to what a woman would be dealing with in an abusive, if it's physical or sexual or even emotional. So there was nowhere to go.
Wow.
And that created a passion in me to not only just to write a book, but start working towards creating a nonprofit to help men, to guide them through these different obstacles they have and trying to find help. So that was part of the journey in reference to got me to writing the book and expanding on reference to what's in my heart and my passions towards just ministering to those broken pieces in men,
Right.
and women as well. But knowing that there's this void that exists, and working towards, creating something that men could find place to heal as well.
I will say that that's very brave, first and foremost, because not a lot of men are comfortable even saying that this is what they've been through. And so, first, I'm going to say thank you for sharing that information. And then, I love the fact that you said that this is part of the continuation of your work. I think that's, you're talking about a topic that's really sensitive. We've talked about, they have the Me Too movement for women, but there's not a Me Too movement for men. Right. And in the spaces that I work in, thinking about, what is there out there for men, and what book can I give them? Because men aren't oftentimes going to just come out and say it, but if they have a book, somebody else can give them the courage to finally start saying, hey, this is what happened to me. So.
And I've experienced that. I've experienced that as well, where men said, it had to be hard to do this. And I said, actually, it was extremely hard. But I also know there's more to my life than what I was doing, that there's, because my faith, I said, God, if you give me the platform, I'm willing to expose what the things I had to go through, so that other people, not just men, because I've had the opportunity to speak in different venues. I did 3 TED Talks. So I've had the opportunity to share versions of my story in different ways that it touches people in their place where they're dealing with or had to deal with certain things. I'm working on my second book now. Well, it's actually with the editors and publishers now. And it goes in a deeper dive and references some other things that that's not so much focused on just a male's perspective, but from a standpoint of just not being just a survivor, but working through that, and how you turn your pain into purpose. And that's the focus of where I'm at in reference to trying to impact others.
So, Tony, as far as starting, how difficult was that to say, I'm going to put pen to paper, particularly as men dealing with the learned behavior of suppressing what it is that we're dealing with, because we think suppressing it means it's going to go away?
Right. Well, very difficult, only because when I was trying to find help, there was nowhere to go. I mean, I ended up going to therapy and working with someone, but after that, there was nothing. There's nothing. I mean, there is nothing. And as Nicole, you mentioned, I mean, you think about there's so many women's workshops to develop women and empower women. And even this morning, I'm in touch with several different people who does those type of workshops. And I kept thinking, there is nothing for men. And that's my drive now, is to figure out, how do I create these things? Who do I connect with to do these things? So when it came to writing the book, the struggle was, I'm going to expose myself. The hard part was my family, because my siblings, my parents, both my parents are gone. They had no idea this happened to me from the age from 9 to 14. Nobody knew.
Wow.
So when I wrote my book, that's when they found out. And that was hard.
I imagine.
It was hard for them, because, they felt, why couldn't you say anything? They felt as if I left them out or something. But they also understood, as I shared with them, I had to block it out. I had to maneuver through life and try to get past this and deal with my own emotions, which I didn't do because I hid it for 38 years, until I had this emotional breakdown, in a sense, and it all came out. Yeah. So even trying to figure out how to write a book, and do I even want to write a book? Because the minute, as authors, the minute you write something, it's out there. And it's never coming back.
No.
Yeah.
And so just to take a deep breath and say, this is not about me. This is a journey that's about something someone else is dealing with. And this is my way of helping them give a platform for themselves and a willingness to talk and open themselves, to read through the words, saying, I can get through this. I can actually sit down and have a conversation with someone and say, this is what happened. And, the person that did it, I forgave them. As a matter of fact, I became friends with their family, his children. He just recently passed. So, then I had to deal with that emotion.
Yeah.
Even though there was no emotional attachment anymore to what had happened. When he passed, it was like, how am I supposed to feel now?
That's a great point.
Did I feel grief? Which I did, because, he became a friend. Which is, people can't say, how does that become a friend? Because I had to learn forgiveness within myself.
Did you get to ask those questions that you needed to ask before as you're becoming friends, what happened that caused that situation?
No. I didn't need to know.
Okay.
I didn't need to know. Because I didn't want my forgiveness to be predicated by something he said.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted my forgiveness
That's
to be
powerful.
predicated on myself.
You didn't want it to be conditional.
Right. I didn't need his words to find my forgiveness.
That's powerful.
It is. That says a lot, Tony, because I would say, might be wrong for saying it, but I'd say 90% of people are not going to arrive at that time in that place where they're going to do that. So you are to be commended for saying, I'm going to embrace the very essence of what forgiveness is all about.
Right. Yeah. I didn't want my forgiveness to be predicated on anything except for the fact that I needed to heal. And outside that, those to me, they became distractions of my own healing. Because I'm listening to this and I say, okay, well, he said this, and because he said that, okay, I need to forgive that area. But if I forgive in wholeness, then I don't have to worry about these different categories, the segments of different things that were said to me, determine how I forgive someone.
That's powerful.
That's exactly what I've taught my kids. So look, at the end of the day, does it really matter? The reason? In anything.
That's true.
Bad relationship, breakup, it doesn't matter. Does knowing really solve anything?
Doesn't change anything.
No, because it's not going to change the outcome. But for some people, that's what they need.
Yeah.
But I didn't want my forgiveness to be predicated on anything else. The fact that I needed to heal.
I think that's very powerful, because a lot of people want to know why. Yeah. And the why helps with the forgiveness, but to be able to fully forgive, that's the essence of what they say. You forgive somebody not for them, but for yourself.
Right.
And you just hit that right on point, that it wasn't about them, it was 100% about you.
And it's funny because as I share my story, people ask me about the forgiveness and that piece of it. I said, think about this. I said, when you have a conversation with someone and they ask you a question and they give you the answer, it usually the answer prompts another question.
Yeah.
So if I'm asking you why, it's going to prompt another question.
True.
And then now I have no longer contact with you. Now the additional questions I have no answer to, because I've created this environment that requires a response that I could never get again. Because he's gone. So how do I get a response to additional questions that I opened up?
Yeah.
So I have to shut that off. So there never no needs for me to have additional questions about anything, because I didn't ask the first one.
That's amazing. And then thinking about you showing other men, and I do believe that men and women forgive differently.
Yes.
Because our mentality is a little bit different. So showing other men how to forgive without that need for the continuation of the conversation.
Right.
And I think that's helpful for women as well, because women, we love to talk. We love to ask questions. I want to know why you did this and I want to know why you did that. But having that example of what that looks like to truly wholeheartedly forgive and then use that as a way to be an example for other people is amazing.
Right. And it really goes back to how men and women process things. Men departmentalize everything.
Yeah.
Because for them, it goes into a file cabinet, whereas the women don't have a file cabinet. It's just, everything's just together. And so that's why you can ask a man a question and he has to go find the file, pull it out, and then respond to it, and it doesn't happen instantaneously, which frustrates some women. Like, what do you want for dinner? And he's going, I don't care. You know what you want. And he's going, okay, let me go in the file cabinet of all the places she likes and try to come up with something, but you want a response right away.
Yeah.
So these categories of these file cabinets that men have, there's no emotion tied to that. Whereas in the female, there's emotion tied to every decision.
Yeah.
So now
definitely.
women are asking men to have an emotion tied to something that they don't have an emotion to, which causes conflict. But then on the other side, when you're trying to deal with your own trauma and your own pain, again, a man trying to departmentalize so that he don't have the emotion to the pain and everything else. All he has is memories. So now when your man goes to therapy, you're asking him to have an emotion towards something that was significant enough that he had to hide. So when he brings it out to the forefront, he deal with it in a black and white way. He's very direct, very stagnated, and it has no color to it, because the color is the emotion side of it. And now we're asking men, bring color to that. And that's hard. And that's why men don't talk about their emotions a lot. And we've been taught, strong, be this. And I'm teaching a men's class now about being authentic with themselves.
So in that respect, with what you're teaching based on what you discovered about yourself, if I can say it this way, because we're both men, you're going against the grain. You're trying to create a whole new paradigm of thinking and how to process things.
Oh, absolutely. That it's okay to have the emotion, have the response, have those different things. And it doesn't have to come out in anger. It doesn't have to come out in frustration, because anger is always the last response for men. Because they'll process all these other emotions that they really are not attached to. So the one thing that they know they can always go to is anger.
Yeah.
That's true.
That was going to be my next question was, are you, in the process of you writing, do you feel like you gave all of that emotion into the book and now it's kind of like a birthing process, the best way to describe it?
As you know, as authors, when you write something, there's a part of you that's going with a pen. And so in that, you're hoping that as you write, and knowing that a part of you is being written through each stroke of the pen or the typing on the laptop, that at the end of it, when the book's done, you say to yourself, I hope they see it through my lens, what I wrote. So writing was a part of the healing process for me, and it still is. The opportunities to get up and speak in front of groups still is. And it also allows me to be able to show and express that these events did not define who I was. That I could still smile, I could still laugh, I could still have a good time in life, I could still be authentic without having something that no longer exists.
Yeah.
Because I tell people, and opportunities to speak, which I'm always honored, I said the one thing about the past, it really doesn't exist anymore. Because it's something, an event that would never happen again. Because it's stuck in time. So if that's our reference for everything, you're actually pulling things that don't exist into your future and now is forming how you react to things. Because the past no longer exists. You may have reference to things, but it in itself is something that happens. You know, we would never get the 2 seconds we just had.
Yeah.
Because it no longer exists.
Definitely.
So as far as the first book, is it fair to say that has led you into a new arena to now teach, to mentor, to nurture? Where has that gone for Tony?
Oh, wow. It's allowed me to be able to speak on an individual basis with people. I do coaching as well, but it also allowed me to speak to a larger audience. I've been fortunate to be selected to do TED Talks, and I've done 2 of them. Actually, 2 talks, and then we had just the past Thursday, I had another what we call salon, which is more of an intimate, whereas most TED Talk events have 8 or 9 speakers.
Right.
In this event, it was just me in an intimate environment with people. It was amazing talking about how I had these 13 boxes, and the smallest box to the largest box. And we talked about the first box being trauma. We talked about loneliness, pain, anger, fear. And it led to the last 3 largest boxes, which were my thoughts, my words, and my actions. Each one fit into those 3 boxes. And out of those those other 10 boxes is how we speak, how we react, and the things we think about, and how dangerous that become. So it's really opened a lot of doors. It prompted me to write my second book. And then also, again, as I mentioned, to work towards creating an environment for men to come and do those different type of workshops to, to empower men from different backgrounds, different cultures, to be able to have the opportunity to grow as men and to understand that God made us to have emotions, to have an expression, as well as being strong and as well as being a leader. That they're not separate from each itself. So, no, I'm very thankful for the platform that I've been given to the social media and those type of things. And I'm just trying to figure that out a little bit.
I think we all are.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm just fortunate to have the opportunity to kind of just be able to be my authentic self in front of other people.
So for our audience, we're going to insert a picture of Tony's book so you can get the information on that. What's the name of the first book again?
Can I Live Again?
Can I Live Again?
Yeah, and it's based off the fact of dealing with life in itself and coming to a point, asking myself this question: is it possible that I can really live again? And that's what prompted the title of the book. And because dealing with trauma from a child and then as an adult, and the emotions and the feelings and the fear and anger that deals with that, it comes to the point that I lived life thinking, I'm not really living. And coming through therapy and those type of things, I realized that I've been going through these emotions for almost 40 some odd years without really living. And then one day I asked myself that question, I said, is it possible that I could really live again? And that's what prompted the title of the book, and that's actually prompted how the book was supposed to flow.
I love that. What is the biggest impact, if you can go back to the times that you've been presenting, or that maybe somebody came back and talked to you about your book with you, what has been one of the biggest impacts that you have seen somebody else get from your work?
It would be my kids.
Nobody more important.
My kids. My kids come to every event.
It's a blessing.
It was all new to them. I had to sit down. Unfortunately, my wife at the time, we were having problems, and part of those problems was because of things I was dealing with. And it's funny, you never know that until you start, you're realizing that, my trauma as a child affected how I approached every relationship. My abuse as an adult how I approached every relationship, and, marriage and everything else. We both had our issues. And when all this came out, I had to sit down and have a conversation with my kids and say, hey, this is what happened to Dad. It was hard for them because all they knew was, hey, this guy's 6'3" and blah, blah, blah. And he's always been strong. I'd never seen him in a vulnerable position. And my kids, they come to, They come to my events. So the biggest impact for me is to watch my kids see me grow.
I imagine too, Tony, that as far as that's concerned, it also gives them license as such to say, what I may or may not be dealing with, I need to be authentic with myself.
Right.
So there's a collateral impact, I think I would say, as far as
absolutely.
what you've been able
Absolutely.
to do.
And that's not to diminish the wonderful stories and text messages and DMs I get on social media about, they, heard or read my book or whatever. It does diminish those things, and I'm very thankful for those responses. But to answer your question, my kids, because they've watched me grow.
It's amazing.
They've really watched me grow, and they always say, "Dad, I'm so proud of you. You're so brave." And my kids are the most important thing to me in my life. It's not even.
Speaking like a proud dad is what you do.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, there's nothing. Nothing.
Okay. We're coming down to about a little less than a minute or so. So for our audience, Tony, give us your contact information. How do they reach you for speaking things or workshop? We'll be sure to have that shared with the broadcast as well. So if you would go ahead and give us that information too.
Do I keep looking at you or do I look at the camera? Which
The
camera?
camera.
Okay. So you can contact me on social media. On Facebook, it's Tony Gould _. It's the same on Instagram as well. I'm working on my website. It's down right now because I'm doing some redesign on that. Those are the best ways to reach me. And I look forward to opportunities to share my story because I know it's going to bless you.
And we know you've got a second book coming out.
Second book is called His Voice.
Okay. Now, what's this one about? Give us a quick overview of it.
So this book is actually talks about the voices that you hear as it's going through trauma. So one chapter is called Scream. The other is called Fear, Displace.
Okay.
And so it goes into an array of different voices from the experience of dealing with trauma.
Okay.
And bringing context to those.
We're going to get Tony back and we're almost out of time. But hey, Tony,
Yes.
thank you so much
Thank you. It's my
for
pleasure.
spending some time with us today. Hey, the Arthur's Authority Lounge, the official TV show for Arthurs. We're out. We'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Be blessed.
Thank you.
What you trying to do for real? For real.
Cosmic psychedelic funk is what I came to do. Yep.